I want to clarify that. I don't think it should be all Democrat. But that's why a lot of them vote the way they do, especially the Cubans, because they fled their country, and then that's why they vote a certain way. Just like black people, the reason why they vote Democrat is because LBJ, signed the Civil Rights Act. So, yeah, everybody has a past of why they vote the way they do. White people, I don't understand. They kind of like all over the place. White people just be white people. That I don't. Shout out to all the whites out there. But yeah, what's up, Chicago Cloud? How you doing? But yeah, so yeah, that's a little history lesson for y'all. Um, but if somebody had said something about black jobs, I want to address that real quick. I've never had an immigrant, and especially if they thank you, Smooth, and especially if they're not legal, I've never had an immigrant take my job. I just feel like that's a weird talking point. Do they take a lot of resources? Yeah, they definitely take a lot of resources. But as far as a job, as that being a threat, no. I've never had an immigrant take my job. That's such a weird talking point, and especially when you try to say it's a black job, because if somebody who's illegal and not a citizen in this country doing a job, that means they're getting paid under the table, and the work that they do, black people don't want to do. If it's like working in the fields and stuff like that, listen, our ancestors did that during slavery, and it wasn't called work, it was slavery. We ain't trying to do that. You ain't gonna see too much of us in fields and stuff. We ain't doing that. We not doing that. No, that's not something. So again, when you say you're taking black jobs, it's like somewhere that got misconstrued, and I'm all like, it's not a good talking point. It's not. But then you gotta say this too. Okay, well, when it comes to DEI, how they want to get rid of DEI and stuff like that, even though, like I said, who it benefits, just like affirmative action, is mostly white women, but they want to get rid of the DEI, and it's all like, well, if you want diversity, equity, and inclusion, then you should want to keep those so you can give black people they black jobs. So you see how it cancels itself. When you say, yeah, we want to give more black jobs, but then you want to get rid of DEI. And by the way, I don't think that I got a job because of DEI. I never thought that before. Like, oh, they hired me to fit a quota. No, if a black person got a job, it's because they worked at it. It's because they earned it. It's because they deserved it. And again, DEI specifically is supposed to talk about leadership and management. Because let's be honest, these jobs will get you in the door, but when you try to apply for jobs and get higher up, they don't accept your black ass. That's why you can have a whole bunch of black people working, but the leadership, more than likely, the leadership isn't going to be black. Put a 1 in the chat if you black and you agree with what I'm saying right now. You know, it might be a group of y'all and a few black people there, but I guarantee you, the management, that's not all black. Nope. That's what DEI is actually supposed to address, like those corporate jobs and stuff like that. That's what it's supposed to address, really. Not getting you through the door. There's already, what is it called? The WEOC? You know how, like, at the end of the application, it has you put your race, or nationality and stuff like that? What is that called, you guys? I'm sorry. I don't have the exact wording. But yeah, there's already something, Equal Employment Act, something like that, right? There's already something like that. DEI is supposed to, the EEOC, yes. Equal Employment Act, yeah. That's supposed to actually work for management. That's what that's actually for. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, equal opportunity employment. Black people are 13% of the population. You can't expect us to be distributed equally. Of course, like I'm not saying like every black person needs to be in management. I'm not saying that. But it should reflect. Because another thing, let's be honest about this. When you live in a certain area, say if the certain area is mostly minorities, but all the leadership is all white, so you're not hiring anybody from the community, you're not like there was no good applicants at all. Like it should reflect the area and it should reflect where you are. Of course, if you live in North Dakota, you probably the only black person. I don't expect. Shout out to all the black people in North Dakota, but I don't expect to see a lot of people. But for example, in the Bay Area, it should be very diverse. Where I live in the Bay Area, it should be very diverse. There should be no excuse why it should look, all one way. That's the truth. Unfortunately, when they say DEI, the way the rules are written, it can mean adding women. Exactly. And like I said, 70% of the beneficiaries of DEI are white women. South Florida too, see? That's what a lot of people don't realize. No, it should be based on your competence. Well, I want to speak to that because there's a thing, and again, this goes back to Kamala Harris. She's the DEI hire or the DEI VP. Just because a black person gets a job doesn't mean that they did not earn it or they're not qualified for that job. If I applied to be a brain surgeon, I would not get the job to be a brain surgeon. You know why? Because I don't have the education to be a brain surgeon. So of course they wouldn't put me as a brain surgeon. We got to think with our brain, right? But if I did have the qualifications to be a brain surgeon and, DEI having to help me, that's one thing. Just like I talked about affirmative action. Affirmative action convinced the Asians that it was all black people and the colored folks all getting in college, and they weren't. And they're still not getting into college. You know why they're not getting into college? Because it's the legacy that's actually stopping them from getting into college. The legacy and the people that donating to the libraries and putting the libraries in their name and shit like that, not realizing it's the white people that are keeping you from actually getting in, not the black folks. But again, when you don't do your research, you don't look at things. And again, like I said, one of the most important things to me in voting this election is that Supreme Court. That Supreme Court has basically changed everything. And if, they're saying that about 2 to 3 might, retire or something might happen, this next election is very important to balance out that Supreme Court. This is why I stress, like, hey, local politics matter. Just like I said, where I live, I got to worry about that recall happening for the mayor. I got to decide whether or not I want that mayor or not. I have to make that decision in November. So when I said 435 Congress seats are up, yeah, you guys need to find out who your Congress is, who's running, and vote in your best interest. Secondly, you have to look at who are the city council, the judges, the state senate as well too. That's very important, as well as the Senate. You got to look at that because a lot of you are going to say, oh, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, but what you're going to do is not vote for your Congress and Senate, and then Kamala gets in, and then y'all be like, well, she ain't did nothing. All she did was laugh the whole time. Well, yeah, because you got to make sure the Congress and the Senate matches, because if it doesn't, you can't get nothing through. Just like when Barack Obama had a hard time. It's going to be the same for Kamala. It's going to be the same if it all don't match and don't work out at the end. So y'all need to think about that. Think about it. There's something else with Kamala that I wanted to mention too, and it's very important. Oh, let's talk about the whole everybody's voting for Kamala because she's black. Okay, I want to address that real quick. If everybody is voting for Kamala because she's black, so what? So what? So you think white people don't vote for white people because they white? I told y'all about to wake it up. So we gonna say white people don't vote for white people because they white. We gonna pretend like they don't do that? All right. Okay, y'all don't want to pretend. Oh yeah, it's a dumb argument. First of all, it's a dumb argument. It's like at this point, who cares if they're voting for Kamala because she's black? Well, hell, some of them don't even believe she's black. They say she's Indian. Okay, then is she Indian? Like, does it really matter? We're gonna pretend like white people don't vote for white people because they're white. Thank you, Shay. But I'm not saying all of them vote for them because they white. Like usually, like let's be honest. Usually the choice is all white, right? So we're gonna say like, okay, well, no, don't vote for her because she like. Come on now, come on. And listen, people want to have this discussion about whether or not she's black. Well, if she's not black, then we're not voting for her because she's black, right? So what? So again, they try to say, oh, well, she's not even black. Just like Trump tried to pull that. Listen, you ain't black either. So why are you trying to tell somebody whether or not they black? You know what I mean? So whether y'all say she ain't black, some people say she is black. At this point, who gives a damn? Who cares? Who cares? I don't care at this point. Like, I feel like that argument is so stupid. Like I said, I am from the Bay Area. She was born in Oakland. Now, she lived mostly in Berkeley, but she was born in Oakland. In the Bay Area, if we seen her, we'd be like, oh, that's a black woman. We're not going to go like, oh, well, she kind of Indian. That don't matter. Listen, when in 2017, I seen her name on the ballot, and I was all like, Kamala Harris? I was all like, Kamala Harris? Oh, that's that black woman. That's who she is. I was all like, oh, listen, the name looked black to me, and I was trying to put a face to it, and I was like, oh, that's Kamala Harris. Listen, I don't know if Kamala is a Jamaican name or an Indian name. All I know is that when I go in that ballot booth, I'm circling or bubbling in her damn name. That's what I know. When November 4th come around, that's what I'm doing. Bubbling in the name. Oh, and I'm still doing the election party night. Even though the election probably won't be decided that night, I'm thinking that it's gonna last until Saturday like it did last time. But anyway, yeah, that whole whether she's black or not, or she this, she that, does it matter? Because if she's not black, we're not voting for her because she's black then, right? Is she okay? She's biracial, or she said she was Indian this whole time. Again, they match up clips and stuff like that where she's talking about her Indian heritage. She's always said she was black. She never said, I'm not black. But if you're asking her and they're pulling clips to where they're talking about her Southeast Asian roots and stuff like that, yeah, that's why she's talking about it. But she's never said, I'm not black. And again, worry about her policies. Worry about what she's going to do rather than if she's black or not. That argument is voided out. We don't care. Oh, November 5th. Oh, shit, I'm going to go the wrong day. Anyway, I'm in California, so I get my ballot mailed to me. So I ain't worried about it. I'm gonna throw my shit in early. But November 5th, thank you, Juanita. I appreciate you correcting that. Anyway, whatever she want to be, she isn't a Nikki. Right. Nikki Haley real name is Nimrata. But because Republicans don't, they don't really support the colored people unless they assimilate to their culture, she had to change her name to Nikki. And Haley is her married name. But her real name is Nimrata. Remember that Ann Coulter lady, that Vivek Ramaswamy? Remember Ann Coulter was like, oh, you're so articulate. I can't say that to the blacks. And then, damn, I gotta find that. I'm gonna find that clip one day. And he started laughing like, oh, yeah, because Vivek don't like black people, but because he think he Indian, he can assimilate, he think he better than us. That's a different story for a different day. And she was like, I agree with everything that you were doing, and you're so great and all this, but I still wouldn't vote for you because you're an Indian. And he was like, yeah. And let's wake it up even more. They don't want Kamala to be president. Not because she's not great or nothing like that. They don't want her to be president because if she becomes president, that means that the whole Democratic Party, the landscape changes. I don't think there'll be another white male president for a while if Kamala gets in, because people are going to be looking at, if this is a true party of diversity and we love everybody and we want inclusion, the nominee will probably not be a white male again. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why they were scared to put Kamala, up there and prop her up. But it's already too late, so they got to put her in that spot. Because let's be honest, Joe Biden and Trump, they still a part of the same Christian Anglo-Saxon. Listen to Ann Coulter when she was talking to Vivek. She was all like, well, all our presidents have had that Anglo-Saxon connection and all that stuff. That's how them people think. Like, oh, no, it need to be an Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, all that other shit. That's what they want. Kamala's, parents are from India and Jamaica. It's a little bit too much. Now, because of slavery and stuff like that, she might, she got a little Anglo-Saxon in her, but it's not enough. It's too much. Ann Coulter really, even though Ann Coulter is a see you next Tuesday, she woke it up with that because she was all like, all our presidents have had some kind of Anglo-Saxon, representing Barack Obama. Barack Obama would be an Anglo-Saxon. Thank you, Kimmy. Would be a Anglo-Saxon technically. They don't want all that different freaky shit. The WASP, yes, that's what it's called. Thank you, Deirdre. WASP. You gotta be a WASP. Kamala is not a WASP. I'm preaching today, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot, I'm telling you. They want to keep that hierarchy, and the way that works is we make sure that every president is an Anglo-Saxon, a WASP. We don't want no freaky shit. We don't want these immigrants thinking they can get in and try to, no, they don't want that. They don't want that at all. I believe Ann Coulter thinks a lot of the ways that, the old school, how they think. She's just brave enough to say it. Real quick, I want to shout out somebody who's been breaking down Project 25 section by section. I do have the document, and if anybody wants it, shout out to Smooth, because Smooth, make sure y'all hit that like button. Smooth was the one that shared it with me. But I have the whole 900-page document. I can email it to you. But who's been breaking it down piece by piece?